All right, so today I figured I'd get a little bit serious with you, even though I'm still smiling. That's just my nature. Answer some of the questions that are on the website and really get these videos posted because, we're getting ready to start promoting and doing all of that. So you guys will actually start seeing these things that I've been recording. So why is a 46-year-old black guy from USA, single black guy from USA, starting a marriage agency and trying to help you guys find a wife? All right, here's the real, man. I've been a working musician most of my working life. Was never particularly successful, but the one thing that you do get when you're playing music and singing and playing guitar and writing songs and all of that, you get a lot of girls. So I had a nice long bachelor run, a lot of fun, lived all my little fantasies and did all the things that mattered to me at the time. Typical young man disease. And my grandmother got sick, and I got a phone call to go back, and my grandmother for me was like my mom. So I get a phone call to go back, and that she's probably not going to make it much longer. And I'm in California, she's in New Orleans, so I have to hop in the car and go, because at the time I'm dating a girl who has a kid, and I couldn't afford for all three of us to fly. It was last minute, so we can drive. So we're going to hop in the car and we're going to go, because I couldn't leave the kid alone with her. Long story, I couldn't leave the kid alone with her, so I had to take him with me. We hop in the car, we go, and I call my father, who I hadn't spoken with in a while. He was like my best friend, but it was one of those relationships, man. If you had one with your dad, you know what I'm talking about. Loved him to death, would have done anything for him. He loved me, but we had moments where we didn't talk. So I call him up and I say, hey, Pops, I need you to go there and represent for me in case I don't make it home in time. I want to at least be able to speak with her, or, to be represented at the house. And my dad lets me know, hey man, I got cancer, I'm in San Francisco, I'm dealing with cancer treatment and I can't go for you. So I'm having a hell of a year, dude. Lost the kid that I loved, was because I was dating the mother of a boy with no father, and I got to be his father for 8 months. So I get to change diapers and take care of and do all those things, and get to be a pops. Any of you guys who are dads, you know what I'm talking about. It kind of changes you. I get home, I get a chance to say goodbye to my grandmother, but then she passes away. She's like my mother. And then I head back to California to repair my estranged relationship with my father. And, we find out he's not going to win this fight. And so we have all these man-to-man, heart-to-hearts that you always say that you want to have, but we tend to get up there and say nice things about people after they croak. And my dad and I had always said that we hate that. We want you to do it, say what you mean when they're alive. So my dad and I talked about women and marriage and kids and just like, every life thing you can think of that you'd want to talk to your father about. So I'm now sitting at the head of the family table, and there is no younger generation, man. My aunts are older than my father was. My dad was kind of a playboy himself, so I assumed there was going to be like a secret letter or a secret video saying, hey Dave, I need you to look after your brother and my girlfriend or something like that. And there was not. And during my father's sickness, I got to see his wife being a wonderful, wonderful partner and stepping up and taking care of him. And then once he died, she stepped up and she did a lot of things that I never would have thought she was capable of, and I don't think my dad even thought she was capable of. So my mind is real on the family thing, man. I'm the last one at the family table, last of my generation. So I decide I'm gonna look, and okay, I'm not bad looking, I know how to talk to girls, and I thought that this kind of dating was for fat old white guys. One second, the thing's blinking. All right, so one, I had to go back to the flat and I had to dump out the video on the phone. You can have a billion pictures, but video eats it up pretty fast. So pay attention if you start trying to video a bunch of stuff. And I noticed that I needed to shave when I was watching the video, so I took a quick shave. But the other video I thought was, it was raw, but it was from the heart, so I'm gonna leave it alone instead of reshooting it. Okay, so picking up. I figured this was a bunch for like dirty old white dudes. I got friends who are, 60, 70-year-old guys, older white guys who you wouldn't have thought I would hung out with when I was younger. I've got friends who are, down to 18, 19-year-old black guys or Latinos or, whatever. You just if you work a bit, go around a little bit, you get friends from all different kind of lifestyles. And anyway, my older white friends had always told me when we got around talking about girls, because no matter how old the man is, you always seem to end up talking about women at some point, right? They're telling me, man, if you want a pretty girl, you got to go to Ukraine. You got to go to Ukraine. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I just figured he's an old dude, and he wanted to relive his glory days and mess with a younger little white girl, man, in her 20s or whatever, where his friends won't give him shit and he comes over here and does whatever he does, or, you know, maybe he's just fantasizing, whatever. You know, I've dated girls of all different races. I'll be honest, most of them are white girls because that's just where I lived and I attracted a lot of blondes. But I just didn't really pay attention to it. So after Pops dies, and I'm like, all right, you know, family, circle of life kind of thing, it's time for me to get out here and find a girl and settle down and have a family of my own. And it isn't just because I'm the last of the family. It really is something I wanted to do. So, man, I get on the dream marriage, right? And it's got all these stunning girls. I figured at first I was going to end up going to Colombia or something because, you know, black guys and Latina girls, you know how that works. If you black, you know what I'm talking about. Puerto Ricans or whatever, you get a pass on that in the hood. Plus, you know, usually looks pretty good. A lot of Miss Universes are like Miss Puerto Rico or Miss Venezuela or Miss Brazil or something like that for our taste, you know. Anyway, so I'm looking on these sites and all these little mail order bride looking chicks, and that's what they call it. I mean, to be honest, the mail order bride industry is not real, but that's what they call it. After I saw 90 Day Fiance, I'm like, oh man, this little, if you guys saw it, you know what I'm talking about. There was this white cat from Oklahoma living with his parents, messing with this fine Barbie doll fine Colombian chick who was clearly out of his fucking league. I mean, he wasn't bad looking or nothing, but he was like Richie Cunningham and she's like Sofia Vergara rather than Sanchez fine, right? Super Barbie. Anyway, I figured if he can get her, well, shit, then I can definitely come over here and get me somebody. So I started looking at all the little sites for international dating, as they call it. And none of the photos really appeal to me, man. I mean, I'm spoiled, like I said. Time in California, time playing music, whatever. I got spoiled. So I finally come across Dream Marriage. And oh, everybody's so fine. Everybody's photos are so beautiful. And I'm just, oh, this is for me. So I join up and I start emailing and doing all this. And I'm getting 400 emails a day. And I figure, oh man, I'm just a pimp, you know. There's no brothers over here. All these girls want some chocolate. And, you know, I can just go over there, pick me one, and I'll be settled in no time. So I do that for a few months and quickly realize I think this might be bullshit. And I've told you the stories about girls that I met later on that it turned out it was bullshit. And I've told you my opinion of sites like that where you pay by the letter and pay for video. Not important. Anyway, the point is I come over here and I really find out how deep the fraud and the deception is. And I also find out that the women are really genuine. There's a lot of really, really beautiful girls here. And it's entirely possible for you to find somebody. But you got to get past all these middlemen, all the pimps as I call them, whose game is basically to make you spend a whole lot of money to not get laid and to not meet anybody, while they line their pockets and give the girls nothing. All right, so I figured, you know, somebody with my game, all of that, I can come over here, do my thing, and I'll be married in no time. And I'm just kind of a part detective by nature, right? So once I realized that Dream Marriage and the sites like it are ripping me off, or ripping us off, I figure, all right, stop being a talker, get on a fucking plane, get over here and check it out. And after coming, I mean, you know, I've shown you what I've noticed and what I've seen here, and it ain't bad. And the part about them being beautiful and family oriented and open to bigger age gap is true. The part about them being more flexible about your appearance is true, within reason. The normal laws of the jungle still apply. So don't think you're gonna be a fat 60-year-old motherfucker with an 18-year-old wife and she's gonna be thrilled about it, and you're never gonna give her no kids or anything, and it's not gonna matter how much money you make, because that's bullshit. But after I come and just realize just how deep the fraud is, and man, it's pervasive. It's pretty much the entire industry. And even the people who want to be legit, it's real hard for them to compete with these other guys who are telling you and me and potential clients just a whole lot of bullshit. Look, if you're open to a woman who's, let's say, 35 or older, and she's got one kid, yeah, you're Brad Pitt over here, man. I mean, you'll have your choice. Not gonna say every woman, but it won't be hard, because they compete, or they're competing with girls who are single and 25 years old, looking for the same guys that the woman with the kid's looking for. And if you got a kid, it's harder, because for the men over here, they don't make that much money, the average guy. So for him to try to take on an immediate family is tough. especially if the woman wants to stay home and take care of the kid, which is normal here, or it's not abnormal. It's real abnormal here in USA. So I figure, look, this is just wrong. I can help some guys use whatever I already know about women and men and all that kind of stuff, and picking beauty and blah, blah, blah. All the stuff that I loved about being a player. I can use that, hopefully find my chick, help some guys find their chick, help make real couples, and make a living. And do the right thing at the same time. Help people not get ripped off, because watching people getting ripped off is just really, really difficult. So that's why me, and that's why not the typical thing. As far as I've seen, there's no other black guy doing it. Now, ideally, it would have been after I found my chick and she would help me run it, because then I think it kind of sells the whole idea better. But that didn't happen, and everything's kind of lined up. So you're going to get to watch me on my journey as I stumble and fall and date the wrong girl and find out which agencies are real and which agencies are not. So it's going to be a little different than what you're probably seeing everywhere else. But I figure if you guys get to know me, watch the journey that I make, maybe you won't make some of the same mistakes. And through the people that I've met already, I'm positive I can help some guys find the right girl as I look for the right girl myself.